The thoughts that were added to your mind through your social conditioning will not let you escape the rat race. And those beliefs are the reason why you will live a miserable life. In this video, I will tell 5 Islamic strategies to transform these thoughts and escape the rat race. If you don't change these thoughts now, nothing in this world will give you peace of heart because they are rooted in one thing: materialism. And the person who lives the most pitiful life is the one who says that once I get this material, I will become happy. Remember, materials can support your life's true purpose, but they are not the purpose itself. And from childhood, you have been told that money is your only pursuit, which belief is now stuck in your mind. Watch this video attentively, outsmarting Shaitan's whispering to transform these thoughts and refocus on your true life's purpose. I will first take you back to the origins of this problem, then we will come to the solution. Humans always had a passive mindset, meaning that they would not think with their own mind, but according to the norms and traditions in the society. Questioning these norms was once impossible because everyone practiced the same traditions from childhood to adulthood. How could a large group of people be wrong? This mindset led to miserable lives for anyone not born into wealth or status. They never thought it like this, that our Creator gave us this life for a higher purpose, rather than helping the upper class of society to fulfill their desires. Today, many believe that this was due to a lack of education, but now, even with widespread education, people still live according to social conditioning. With the advancement of technology, the same brainwashing which the leaders of early ages did on their people was spread in our subconscious mind in such a subtle manner that we thought it is normal to think that the person who has more money is more successful. Remember the cartoons you watched as a child? They often depicted the rich kid as the one loved by friends, living without problems. This idea was reinforced through films where the poor hero was disrespected until he became rich, at which point his life magically improved. These narratives filled our subconscious minds with the belief that without money, we are nothing, and that wealth brings happiness. This concept was further reinforced in the schools, where the teacher used to say that if you don't study, you will not get a job, which meant that education is only a means to get a job and earn money. Education was reduced to only securing wealth, not seeking knowledge or fulfilling a higher purpose. Schools played a significant role in trapping you in the rat race, conditioning your mind over 12 to 13 years, 5 to 6 hours a day. This brainwashing instilled the belief that without money, you have no value. You have to understand why the person stuck in the rat race would live a miserable life. Because his only purpose in life is to build a house for his family, buy a nice car, and when he is done with all of this, he will achieve an honorable position in society. All people will start respecting him, and after that, there would be no problems in his life. This is a delusion of success. But after achieving these goals, they realize that happiness, promised by society, is nowhere to be found. They might say, I sacrificed so much for this, and in the time I could have spent preparing for the hereafter, I was busy accumulating wealth. Where is the happiness society promised me? After this, you would learn about the reality of this world, but then it would be quite late. You would have a family to support and fulfill their needs. At that time, you could not even quit the job that you hate. You started that job only to get your desired material, but now you are spending a miserable time between Monday and Saturday, going office every day and doing the work which you hate. The fear of risk becomes so overwhelming that they impose this same mindset on their children. They destroy the ambitions of their kids because at a young age, when they had the chance to escape from this trap and live for a high aspiration, they chose their comfort zone. They thought that denying all the system and starting to live for a larger purpose is tough, and why should he take such a big risk, which in return will cause him abstaining from his desires. After living a life of misery, he would wish that if only he had known about this life earlier, he would never have sacrificed his world and hereafter for this invaluable thing. But do not grieve. Here are 5 Islamic strategies that will help you escape the rat race. Strategy number 1. Tawheed. All this brainwashing of 12 to 13 years can be changed just by saying, I worship no God except Allah. You must be thinking that I often say this, but it does not change these thoughts. This is because your words are not the ones that the Prophet of Allah, peace be upon him, preached to us. When you try to escape the rat race, your biggest enemy, Shaitan, trick you by saying that if you change this lifestyle, you could never fulfill your desires. Listen to what the Quran says. Have you seen those who have taken their desires as their God? This means that these desires also become your God. So I told you that this zikr is the simple solution to start living a life with high aspirations. Because of all other desires in front of Allah, you only worship Him and seek help from only Him. This is the easiest way to transform these thoughts. But your mind constantly tempts you to follow these desires because Shaitan beautifies them in a way that fulfilling the desire starts to give you pleasure. But it is an illusion, and falling for this trap of Shaitan makes you very weak and depressed. As it is in the Quran, how powerless are those who invoke and those who are invoked. In this ayah, matlub also means your desires. They can't give you real peace of heart. If you are a talib of these worldly pleasures, you are in a miserable condition and going to live a depressed life. Because these desires are the reason you want that material, the desire to show people, and the desire to make people jealous of that material. Strategy number 2. Don't envy your rich friends. Another thing that stops you from escaping the rat race is your social circle. Your friends whom you think are living a happy life. You start comparing yourself with them, and the reality of this world is that you strive to get ahead of your peers. And most of the time, your friends are not on the right path. They have crossed the boundaries of Allah in achieving the life you think is peaceful. But I wish you could see their hearts. They are miserable from inside. When you sit with these type of people, they are insecure within themselves because they achieved nothing after getting their desired material. But they want people to think that they are happy and their life has changed after getting their desired material. That's why they boast in front of you and try to make you feel inferior. And then you also start wishing to get that material. The solution is simple. Remember that anyone not following Allah's guidance is in a state of loss. Allah says in Surah Asr, "Indeed, mankind is in loss, except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds, and advised each other to truth, and advised each other to patience." So, there is no need to envy these people and to compare yourself with them. Strategy number 3. Compare yourself to righteous people. As you begin to free yourself from social conditioning, Shaitan will try to distract you. He will beautify certain acts that others in society do to please themselves. This is a war against Shaitan, a war greater than any military conflict. This is the time when following the deen is very difficult just due to society, but remember that Allah is aware of the time and place He sent you to. He knows the challenges you face, and He won't leave you powerless. Following the deen in this time is as challenging as it was during the Prophet's, peace be upon him, time, when even the Sahaba's families and friends were on the wrong path. Yet the Sahaba recognized that these people were in loss and prayed for their guidance. They didn't say, "If everyone is misguided, why should we live a life fearing Allah?" Just because everyone is on the wrong path, it doesn't give you a license to sin. Stop comparing yourself to the ones who are sinning and crossing the boundaries of Allah. As mentioned earlier, they are miserable. Rather, compare yourself to the Sahaba and early Muslims who spent every moment of their lives in worshiping Allah. Strategy number 4. Compete for akhirah, not dunya. In the rat race, people compete to accumulate more wealth and possessions, but this race never ends. As chapter 102 of the Quran says, "Competition for more gains diverts you from Allah until you end up in your graves. Even if you win this race, you are still a rat, miserable and depressed." Our deen teaches us to compete in goodness, not material wealth. As it is in Surah Hadid, compete with one another for forgiveness. This way, you will work for the betterment of humanity and start creating solutions to problems people face. This is the best way of earning money because you are also getting worldly gains, and in parallel, your account of akhirah is also getting filled with good deeds. This can only be achieved if your intention is pure, with the sole desire to please Allah. Strategy number 5. Resist Shaitan's trap. Remember, changing your heart takes time, effort, and sincerity. If you fall into sin, don't let Shaitan deceive you into thinking that change is too difficult or that you lack the willpower to overcome his tricks. Don't convince yourself that you can continue in the rat race while also doing the obligatory deeds. You will start thinking that due to these deeds, it is more likely that Allah will put me in Jannah. It is okay if I do small sins to compete with others. Allah is not so cruel that he will punish me for such a small bad deed. At least I am not doing that sin. And the sin which you mentioned earlier, next time you will be doing that same sin. This is how Shaitan tricks you. Don't fall for this trap. Whatever happens in your life, you should have this solemn vow that you will never go to that same lifestyle and compete in the rat race. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you found it beneficial, please share it with your friends so they too can benefit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.